In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only Combat Patrol. Oh yes, we're on to issue 8. Let's get straight into it. Once again, we are here on Combat Patrol. It's issue 8. We've got the second part of the Termagants and the bases to put them on this time, which is nice. Should have been a few in last one, but there weren't. So let's get into the 10 Termagants and Ripper Swarm, part 2 of 2. First of all, we have this rather bent piece of plastic. That's not exactly brilliant, but as long as the guys are okay, I suppose that's all right. We'll put that to one side for the moment and look at the actual magazine. Very nice picture of the Termagants on the front there. That's not a Termagant. What is that? Very nice picture of a Tyranid on the front. It's not a Termagant because they're in the background, so that is more of a larger guy, but hey, you know, looks pretty good. We have the standard editorial, which is nice. And then straight into how to paint the Tyranids, because of course we got the how to put them together in the last issue. So this is definitely part 2 of 2. Very nice, easy to understand. Yeah, very nice. And then there's the whole thing of how it would look once you've finished with the colours that you've been given so far. That is a very important thing. Then we're on to reading. It's part 7 of the Imperium stuff. Departmentum Munitorum. The logistical challenges of the Imperium are sanity-shattering in scale. So this is the department that deals with getting the ammunition out there. That's rather cool. Very nice to see that. Got their sign of office, so I like that because they've all got different images and it's hard to keep track of them sometimes, so it's nice to have a little guide there. We've got a bit more reading. A Second Tyrannic War. It's a bit of history about how they've gone on. That's interesting. And then about the Great Devourer themselves, the Tyranids as a whole. If the Devourer arrives, pray to the Emperor for salvation. Yes, but do that while running for an escape pod, because they will destroy you. We've got a background table for the Tyranids, for our Termagant Swarm. What do? I don't have a dice available, funnily enough. So we're going to pick one. We're going to pick the middle one. These Termagants act as a deadly living shield for any synapse organisms they battle alongside, and will stop at nothing to protect them. Superb. Super duper. Then we can give a unit name for them if we want. We're going to call them the Smelly Butts. Of course! Because I am so mature. Yes, and then we get a data sheet on the Termagants. Of course, we've already had this in a previous issue, the actual one that you can put on the table while you're playing, but it's nice to have a slightly larger version. Gives us some abilities. So we've got Skulking Horrors. Once per turn, when an enemy unit ends a normal advance or fall back move within 9 inches of this unit, if this unit is not within engagement range of one or more enemy units, it can make a normal move of up to d6. So we can move while the enemy is moving, once per turn. That is a bit interesting because it doesn't say that it has to move toward any of the enemies. So that could be very, very useful. If you're trying to hold objectives, that could be a very useful thing. I'll have to look into the actual rules to make sure that's how I'm interpreting it, but it is a very interesting move, isn't it? Now we've got information about charging. Charging is good, yes. We all know what we need to do there, don't we? Roll 2d6, and then that's the amount of charge you could do. If it's greater than or equal to the amount of space you need to have in order to charge into a fight, then you succeed. If not, you fail and you don't move. So that is actually quite cool. I like that. Then we've got a bit about the fighting and the consolidations and piling in and all of that. I think we've had a little bit of that before, but it's always good to consolidate it with the rules on charging. So that's really cool. And again, we got this little ruler last time, so we've got a nice bit of information for that. Very nice. Then we get the scenario. This is part 2 of what we were talking about last time. So we've got the Tyranids terrain pieces, we've got some Von Ryan's Leapers and Termagants this time. Ho, 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 ho. Okay, this is looking good. So what have we got here? Scenario 4, Ambush Predators. Having been caught out by several bold Space Marine maneuvers, the Tyranids are striking back. They have identified a group of Infernus Marines. These warriors believe they have a superior defensive position, but with cunning, the Tyranids will be able to ambush them. So we've got our Infernus squad coming through from issue 7, and they're into this area now where we've got an awful lot of trouble for them. We've got the Tyranid Terrain, the Termagants, and the Von Ryan's Leapers, so they're going to be able to pummel from a distance because, as we've already seen, they've got ranged weapons and melee if they need to. But the Von Ryan's Leapers, they're all melee, and they're very, very tough. So, Von Ryan's Leapers against Infernus squad, that's going to be tough. I would take them out first if I can, but they're a long way away, so that might not be possible. Might be a good idea to try and use some terrain to get the Infernus squad around these guys and then attack those and take them out, because they've only got 1 wound each, whereas the Von Ryan Leapers are a bit harder. So let's see how this goes. Welcome back to the game room once more. Once again, we can't quite fit everything on the boards, on the camera even, so there's the Von Ryan's Leapers just off frame, and we have Termagants plus the Infernus Marines. This is Scenario 4, Ambush Predators, and the mission is to advance stealthily up the board and, where necessary, deploy the Termagants as a distraction in order to ambush the Infernus Marines. This is from the point of view of the Tyranids. So how to win is you win this mission when the last Infernus Marine is slain. However, should all of the Tyranids models be slain, the Space Marines will win. Well, yeah. Seems a bit weird, but okay. Keep the rules for charging close to hand while you play, as you'll need them to secure victory. So, we're all set up. Let's go in. We're charging and attacking. So, as always, we're going to do the roll off to see who goes first. Purple for Tyranids, blue for Space Marines. Let's see who goes first. Space Marines go first. So, this is standard for Space Marines. We are using the Infernus squad, so we're going to need the Infernus squad's rules, plus the Von Ryan's Leapers, and the Termagants. The Infernus squad has a 6-inch move, and they currently can't see these Termagants or the Von Ryan's Leapers, so they can't possibly get them. The Infernus squad has a good defensive position, but they really need to get rid of those, because if the Termagants charge, the fact is they've got 10 of their guys can survive. They're outnumbered. So the Space Marines are going to do the first thing. They're going to decide, we're not going to move around here and be within range of the Von Ryan's Leapers. We're going to come around this way. We're going to do a 6-inch defensive move to here. They can now see the Tyranids. They have torrent weapons, which means they automatically hit, but we need to see how many attacks they get. So each of them has D6 attacks according to their stats. So let's see how many attacks they get. 4, 2, 4, 6, 7, 12. 12 attacks. They have a strength of 5 against a toughness of 3. So 12 attacks, wounding on a 3+. 8 wounds, 8 potential wounds, let's put it that way. They have no armor penetration. What's a saving throw of a Termagant? 5+. Oh my goodness. The Termagants may not survive this, or at least some of them won't. So they've got 8 potential wounds to save on a 5+. Okay, saved. And saved. That's 6 wounds, each one damage 1. So that is 6 actual wounds. How many wounds does the Termagant have? 1. So that's 6 dead Termagants. 2, 4, 6. And that is why the Space Marines are right to go for the Termagants first. Yes, the Von Ryan's Leapers are a bigger threat, but the Von Ryan's Leapers are over there. The Termagants are within range. And now the Termagants are going to get their revenge. So, we're going to shoot, and then we're going to charge. Termagants' ranged weapons, which is a flesh borer, has a range of 18 inches. Well, of course, they're within range. So, we get 1 attack per guy. That's 4 attacks. And they have a ballistic skill of 4+. So let's see how they do. 4 attacks, hitting on a 4+. 1 of them is hit. 1 is better than nothing. Strength of 5 against a toughness of 4, so it wounds on a 3+. It wounds. No armor penetration, so we're going to have to go with the saving throw for the Infernus squad, unmodified. He saves. Oh my goodness. But we knew that was likely to happen. So, now we're going to charge. We need a 7-inch charge. well, 6 inch. We need to get within engagement range of these Marines. So that's a 1 inch around any of the Marines. So we need a 6 inch charge, preferably 7 to make sure, but 6 inch will get us within engagement range. So on 2d6, we need 6 or more. 4. We failed to charge. We don't get to charge this turn. Right, the little Termagants aren't the only thing up the Tyranid's sleeve. Bring in the Von Ryan's Leapers. They have a move of 10 inches. Now, we need to get within charging range. So the first thing we're going to do is a 10-inch move, plus we're going to do an advance move so I can get around and make sure that we're within range to charge next turn. So that would get us to there. We need an advance. What's our advance? We get d6. We get to move 16 inches, where it's technically now within weapons range of the Marines, but the Marines can only shoot at one guy. Well, technically they could shoot at both, but what are you going to do? One of them's going to get there and attack. So, Marines' turn. Well, these were within range last time, so they were the bigger threat, but these are now the bigger threat. The Marines are going after the Von Ryan's Leapers. Again, it is the Pyre Blaster which automatically hits, but we need to see how many hit. So, we have 5 Marines with d6 attacks. 6, 7, 10, 13 attacks. And we have a strength of 5 against a toughness of 5. So strength and toughness are equal. We wound on a 4+. 4 did not wound, which means we have 9 potential wounds Von Ryan's Leapers. Now they have an invulnerable save of 6+, or a saving throw of 4+. I'm going to go with a saving throw of 4+. Now, the invulnerable save could come in useful at other times, but at the moment, it's higher than the standard saving throw, so we're going to go for that. And of course, we don't have armor penetration, so we've got 9 wounds, and we're saving on a 4+. 2 did not save. Von Ryan's Leapers have been very lucky there. So 2 wounds and damage of 1. Von Ryan's Leapers have 3 wounds each. Therefore, one of them has 2 wounds. We'll say the guy that's got his base actually finished has 2 wounds. There we go. And now, the Space Marines, they didn't move, but they are going to try and charge. So, but if we charge, these guys will fight first because, you see, these guys have fights first. So if we charge them, they will attack before we get to attack on a melee. And the Termagants are very easy to get rid of. So, Space Marines, do you think we can get there? We're going to attempt to charge. That would be a 7 inch. 6 inches will get us within to engagement range. So I'm thinking we try that. So, we're going to attempt to charge. 5. We can't charge. So that's our turn over, unfortunately, because now the Tyranids are absolutely going to decimate us. Von Ryan's Leapers, we're going to charge straight away. We need a 6 inch charge again. Let's see if we can do it. We could have moved and then charged to make it much easier. But I'm just going to see how it goes. 7. Oh my goodness. So one of our guys gets within engagement range, which means we then get to consolidate. The Von Ryan's Leapers are going in and doing what they do best, which is slicing and chewing and gnashing of teeth. They have 6 attacks each. There's 3 of them, which means we have 18 attacks. And their weapon skill is 3+, so 18 attacks, hitting on a 3+. Let's see how much damage these guys can do. 11 hits, not bad. Strength of 5. Toughness of 4, so they wound on a 3+. 8 potential wounds there, so we've got a saving throw, of course. Infernus Marines save on a 3+, but we have an armor penetration of -1, so we take 1 off each of these, essentially meaning that we save on a 4+. So 8 saving on a 4+. 5 wounds. That's going to be a problem for us because each of these is damage 1 and our Infernus Marines only have 2 wounds. So let's say these 2 guys at the back straight off, because they take 2 wounds each, they're out. One of our guys has got 1 wound. There we go, give it to him. Now, we have a bit of an issue because I've done something very silly. Can you see where it is? We can't shoot into that melee. So we have essentially blocked off our Termagants from being able to fire. We should have fired with them first and then done the charge. But I didn't think it through, so our Space Marines have a chance here. So what we're going to do is we're going to move our Termagants. They have a 6-inch move, so they get to move 6 inches. Here we go. Now, if we want to try and do this, we're going to have a 5-inch plus a 2-inch. We're going to need a 7-inch charge. It is technically possible. It's not great, but if we want to get into melee, we need a 7-inch charge. And we make it. So since we've already measured, we know that we can get round to here with a 7-inch charge. We get 3 inches to pile in, which means we get to move our guys. We'll take the marker and put it there so that one of our guys can get in. There we go. Our Termagants are going to swarm in and attack. Termagants, melee weapons are not very good. For each of them that's there, they get 1 attack. So we've got 4 attacks, and they hit on a 4+. Not the greatest, but you never know. There's only 3 of the guys left, and one of them's already wounded. So they hit on a 4+, which means one of them is hit. There is no armor penetration, strength of 3 against a toughness of 4, so we only wound on a 5+. We don't wound, but it was worth a try. Okay, we've missed something out. This is the really important. This is why playing these missions again and again until it really clicks in is what you need to do. We have missed the Space Marines fighting turn twice. And this is important. Now, the Von Ryan's Leapers had fights first, so when we charged in, they should have automatically got fights first because the Space Marines don't have it. But we didn't fight back. The Space Marines get a chance to fight back in the melee, and then the Termagants would have charged in. But because the Space Marines are the player that would be defending in this situation when the charge comes in, Space Marines would attack first on that round. So basically, we forgot to do a Space Marine attack and then a Space Marine attack before the Termagants got the fight. So we're just going to leave it as it is and now do 2 Space Marine attacks, but we should have had them before this happened. So let's do this. Infernus Squad has a melee weapon with 3 attacks per guy. These 3 guys are going to attack the Von Ryan's Leapers. 3 attacks per guy, so that's 9. 9 attacks. They have a weapon skill 3+, so 9 attacks hitting on a 3+. So 4 hits. They have a strength of 4 against a toughness of 5, so because strength is lower than toughness, they would wound on a 5+. So we get 4 attacks, wounding on a 5+. None of them wounded, so that attack didn't actually change. Now we turn to the Termagants. The Space Marines would have hit back first before the Termagants get to hit. Again, we've got 3 guys with 3 attacks, and although the rules state that each unit can only be picked to fight once per turn, it doesn't say that units can't defend more than once per turn. So the Marines do get an attack. We have 9 attacks with a weapon skill of 3+, so 9 attacks hitting on a 3+ again. 7 hits. We have a strength of 4 against a toughness of 3, so strength higher than toughness. We wound on a 3+ with these 7 hits. 6 potential wounds. No armor penetration. Termagants have a saving throw of 5+. This is probably not going to go well for the Termagants, so they need to save on 5+ on 6 wounds. That one's cocked. Okay, so saved, saved, and saved. That actually went surprisingly well for them. So 2 wounds come through, damage is 1, so 2 wounds are taken. These 2 are dead. Which means they wouldn't have attacked, but we resolved the wrong way round, so unfortunately this is how it is. Right, we get to move this back in for that guy now. Space Marine's turn. Now here's the fun part. They can only fight once for the fighting phase, but all Space Marines have pistols, so they can shoot and fight. They are in melee. They can use their pistols to shoot at any unit that is in melee with them, in engagement range. Well, that's both of them. We're going to target the Von Ryan's Leapers though, because they are the bigger threat. So we have 3 guys, each with 1 attack, and a ballistic skill of 3+. So these guys get 3 attacks with their pistols, and they hit on a 3+. Each one of them is hit. Strength of 4 against toughness of 5, which means they wound on a 5+. That one does not wound. 2 potential wounds, no armor penetration, Von Ryan's Leapers save on a 4+. Both fail to save. Damage of 1 per thing. This guy has already got 2 wounds, so he's taken out straight away. Which means there's 1 wound left. We'll give it to that guy there. So he's got 2 wounds left. The other guy's on 3. Right, let's go straight to the fighting. We're going to pile in. This guy's going to move around, so he piles in, so that we are attacking the Von Ryan's Leapers. Let's fight. They get 3 attacks this time, as opposed to the 1 from their pistols. So the 3 guys left with 3 attacks means 9 attacks. Weapon skill 3+. So that one missed, 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 and missed. So we've got 5 hits. Not bad. We have a strength of 4 against a toughness of 5, so we wound on a 5+. And one of them wounded. So we got through. It's not bad, all things considered. Saving throw of 4+. And did not save. Damage of 1. So this guy now has 2 damage. Because he's already wounded, he takes the damage automatically. That's the rules. So there we go. Right, now we're over to Tyranids. Termagants don't have a pistol weapon. Von Ryan's Leapers don't have any ranged weapons at all, so neither can use their shooting phase. We're going straight to combat. Von Ryan's Leapers are going first. We're going to use them first. So these guys get 6 attacks each. There's 2 of them, so we're going to end with 12 attacks. Their weapon skill is 3+, so 12 attacks hitting on a 3+. So that's 9 hits. They have a strength of 5 against a toughness of 4, so they wound on a 3+. 6 potential wounds, armor penetration of -1, which means effectively we save on a 4+ for our Infernus squad. So, saved, 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 and saved. But that's 2 wounds, and each one does 1 damage. Our guys only have 2 wounds. He's already been hurt, so he takes the first. And he's dead. There's 1 of our wounds out. So another guy, he takes the other damage. There we go, 1 wound for him. And now, Termagants are no longer within their range. They're no longer within engagement range, because technically we've now moved out by 1 due to consolidation and piling in outside of engagement range. So they need a 2-inch charge. Well, technically they need a 1-inch charge. That is really easy to get, but let's do it. Yep, they've done it. So let's move this guy's marker out of the way and pile in. One of our guys has 1 damage, remember, which means Space Marines get an attack. 2 guys left with 3 attacks each. They hit on a 3+. So it doesn't hit, doesn't hit, doesn't hit. 3 hits. Strength of 4 against a toughness of 3, which means they wound on a 3+. That one doesn't wound. Right, 2 potential wounds, saving on 5, no armor penetration. Neither of them saved, which means they're dead. Essentially, that was a successful charge that then killed the Termagants, but never mind. So what we could do at this point is move back out of range. If we fall back, we can't fire. However, it's not going to work well for us because the von Ryan's Leapers would immediately charge again. So we may as well just stand and fight it out. There's 2 guys left against 2 guys. We get 3 attacks each, so 6 attacks, hitting on a 3+. That one doesn't hit. 5 hits. So we have a strength of 4 against a toughness of 5, so we wound on a 5+. Oh my goodness, none of them wounded. Oh my goodness, Space Marines, you are probably not going to last. Von Ryan's Leapers turns. So they get 6 attacks each, which means 12 attacks because there's 2 of them. They hit on a 3+. 9 hits. We've got a strength of 5 against a toughness of 4, so they wound on a 3+. 3 potential wounds. Armor penetration of -1, which means we're effectively saving on a 4+. Let's see, do we manage to do it? 1 of them saved. 2 potential wounds. So 1 of them saved, 2 wounds. Well, that guy's already got a damage, and they only have 2 wounds, so he's down, takes 1 of them. The other guy has 1 wound. I have a feeling, and now we consolidate, I have a feeling that this guy's not going to win. The Space Marines are absolutely getting trounced here. So, but what can we do? Let's move on. We've got 3 attacks. 3 attacks. And they hit on a 3+. 2 hits. Strength of 4 against a toughness of 5, so he wounds on a 5+. 1 potential wound, no armor penetration, so they save on a 4+. Didn't save. 1 damage. He's already got 2 wounds. They have 3 in total. He's dead. Toe-to-toe now. Von Ryan's Leaper gets to go. He gets 6 attacks. The Space Marine's got a real low chance of winning here. Hitting on a 3+. 5 hits. Strength of 5 against toughness of 4, so he wounds on a 3+. Those 2 don't wound. So 3 potential wounds with an armor penetration of -1 on a saving throw of 3+ means we effectively save on a 4+. Let's roll. If any one of these lands, the Infernus Marine is dead. Saves on a 4+. All 3 hit. Space Marine falls to the Von Ryan's Leaper. Tyrannid victory. So, here we are. We're back with the magazine, and of course, with those overwhelming numbers, we did get a Tyrannid victory. So let's see what happens here. The Infernus Marines fight valiantly, but it is in vain. The last warrior in the squad is impaled gorily on the talon of a Von Ryan's Leaper. Interesting that they're going to suggest that the Marines would not be able to take them on, but okay. The Hive Mind commands its warriors to feast on the fallen and to return to the primary Hive cluster. Having seized the advantage, it's time to launch another devastating assault. So there we are. And then at the end, well, we've got the paints coming and then the Librarian and Terminator armor. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be fun. The 2 paints on their own in issue 9, sorry to say that's not great value for money compared to what we've had in the other issues, because of course the 2 paints themselves will come to like £7.50 or something like that. The magazine itself, when you get it, is 10. So yeah, I can see why some people were not happy with that, but you know, they've got to put things together the way that makes sense for them. And yeah, for the most part, I'm alright with this. Going to be a bit of an iffy one on review, but we'll see what the mission's like, because that is really the make or break with these ones. So far, I'm really enjoying it. Could have been a bit more coherent with the bases. We should have had a few of those in the previous issue, but never mind. All in all, enjoyed it. Excellent. Looking forward to next week. Okay, there you go. I hope you enjoyed that. I certainly thought it was an interesting issue with a decent mission. And yeah, it wasn't great that they split the Termagants over 2 issues in such a weird way. But at least they're done now. And I suppose that's what we've got to just put up with a Partworks magazine. Sometimes decisions aren't going to be the best from our point of view, but they kind of make sense from theirs. I don't know. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, remember to click that like button, share it with your friends so that they'll know how to play the game too, and subscribe for future videos, because there'll be more in the future. But until next time, I've been Zoe Kirk Robinson. You've been watching WarGame Hammer Wargaming. I'll see you later. If you like the show, please consider supporting me on Patreon. It really does help create future videos. That's patreon.com/Zoe Kirk Robinson. And I've got an extra special thanks going out to Chief89, Sam Yates, Retro Mickey82, Mo Henry, and George Bortorini. Thank you so much, guys.